Time to ride that wave of sweet, sweet RS660 content, baby. It's so good that not only can I not stop riding it, but I also can't stop talking about it. Whenever someone asks me a question, the response is always RS660. Hey, Yam, what time is it? It's 6:60 o'clock. Hey, Yam, what's the best motorcycle I can buy? RS660. Hey, Yam, I'm on fire. Can you help put me out? I'm sorry I can't help you, but have you heard about our Lord and Savior, the RS660? In all seriousness, ever since Aprilia revealed the RS660 a few years back, people have been dying to get their deposits in, saying that they're picking it up as their second motorcycle or adding to the stable as a track toy. It was always going to be a smash hit right out of the gate, and not only now are we getting the Tuono 660s, but there's also a Touareg adventure bike concept with the same engine in it on the horizon. However, when there's a new motorcycle, and better still a new Italian motorcycle, the hairs on the back of people's necks stand on end thinking that the bike is a coin flip away from exploding into a million pieces. It also doesn't help that at the time of recording this video, Fort9 just dropped a video showing that Aprilia seemed to have a bit more bits floating around in the oil than Japanese motorcycles. Did I watch the video? Yes. You can stop DMing me about it now. But here's the question. Is the Aprilia RS660 worth picking up one day? And if you do, what should you expect from the bike? Let's dive in with some history. Believe it or not, the story of the RS660 starts 66 million years ago, when a big rock hit the earth and killed all the dinosaurs. After a few years of evolution, monkey men made the first Harley Davidson. I'm obviously kidding, but the bike literally just came out this year. What do you want from me? The biggest thing to note is that the RS660 was quoted to weigh in at 370 pounds wet, which kind of turned out to be total BS. It's actually 404 pounds. Don't get me wrong, that's pretty lightweight, but it's a bit of a bummer they didn't hit that super lightweight number. I'm not really sure where the extra weight came from, but if I had to guess, someone in the marketing department mixed the wet weight numbers and the dry weight numbers instead of the wet ones. But that's just one spec, and I know there's a bunch of spec sheet warriors out there who want to know every tiny detail, and ain't no one got time for that. But here's the important ones. The RS660 has a 659cc parallel twin, putting down a claimed 100 horsepower and 49 foot-pounds of torque. Since the bike is so new, we actually don't have real-world numbers, but I imagine you're probably closer to the mid to low 90s for horsepower, but trust me, it feels plenty fast. By the way, whenever I say something in this section, you might as well include the qualifier, trust me it's fast, or trust me it works great. Anyways, like any good parallel twin, it's got an uneven firing order which gives it a nice V-twin note instead of the Ninja 650's abysmal big lawnmower sounds. I know a lot of Ninja apologists like to think that sound doesn't make that big of a difference, or that you can fix it with a pipe, but trust me, you can't. Here's a Ninja 650's exhaust sound. And now here's the RS660's exhaust. Do you see what I mean? It's got a fully adjustable Kayaba fork and an unbranded monoshock at the back, which is also fully adjustable. Is it WP Apex suspension or Olin suspension? No, but it works really nice, and that's what matters. It's packing twin Brembos up front with steel lines from the factory, and while it's not really that important, the front brake has one of the clear round reservoirs instead of the little blocks. It's something you see on fancy high-spec bikes, and who doesn't like slapping a res cover on a bike? Again, it's not better or any worse than the block ones, but it's just kind of cool. It's got a generous master cylinder up front as well, and braking power feels really nice on the RS660. As if that wasn't good enough, it's packing some bleeding edge technology straight off the RSV4. We're talking an adjustable traction control, slide control, wheelie adjustable control, which goes from limp wheelie to dank nooner, and cruise control. Oh, you thought I was done? No, we've got a quick shifter, an auto blipper, adjustable engine braking, adjustable programmable power modes, and cornering ABS. Try finding a setting on this bike that isn't on the RSV4 for almost $18,000. The amount of computers and modes and adjustments you get on the RS660 is kinda crazy and is a bit of a game changer. You can easily get lost in the menu if you can find the menu, which is a whole other topic, and it's all made up easier thanks to that nice little TFT dash. The final cherry on top of this giant pile of two-wheeled goodness is that it only costs $11,499 for this. Now, I'm gonna earn myself some dislikes here, but this is dumb. I'm not even sorry. This level of technology and electronic assistance, one bike that puts down less than 100 horsepower at the wheel, is kinda silly. Why do you need 3 different levels of traction control? Do you actually have a hard time keeping the front wheel down on this bike? Are you worried about spinning the rear tire in the rain? If you actually need to be saved by these nannies on the daily, you probably need to reevaluate your street riding. I know what you're thinking, that you're not going to take the RS660 straight to the track and be able to ride it at 10/10 and not have to worry about the bike because it's going to keep you safe, but that's not all how it works. It's not the tech and the bike that makes the rider. It's all about your skills. The other thing to note as well is that Aprilia missed a huge opportunity by making 2 versions of the RS660 in my opinion. They should have made a bare bones RS660 with none of the electronics and none of the big fancy features, none of the quick shifters, the auto blippers, just a bare bones good motorcycle with the same bones that the RS660 has. And then they should have made an RS660 SP with all the electronics, the TFT, the Öhlins, anything else they wanted to put on it, and bifurcated the market in that way. But hey, what do I know? Speaking of skills, however, if you're thinking that the RS660 would make a good beginner bike thanks to all that technology, you'd probably be wrong. First of all, do you trust yourself to put it in low power mode and really keep it there? In reality, you're going to hit one corner and realize just how good the bike is and you want more. Secondly, it's quite a bit of cash for a beginner bike. You don't need to buy some bottom dollar Ninja 250, but spending over $12,000 out the door on your first motorcycle is a lot, especially when you consider the fact that you're probably going to drop the bike and abuse it a little bit once. It's no R1, but having to shell out money for new plastics or case would bring a tear to the eye of even the most loaded Ducatistas. Okay, with all that being said, let's discuss what this bike is meant to be. You might look at the RS660 and think that it's a pure-blood sport bike and that's designed to do nothing but carve up corners, but it's actually more nuanced. First of all, let's talk about the ergonomics. This bike sits somewhere between a super sport and a sport touring. It's shockingly comfortable, not unlike the Ducati Panigale V2. The seat is actually meant to be comfortable, and while it's tall at 32.3 inches, the clip-ons have a solid 1.5 inch rise over the triple tree. And let's not forget the whole cruise control situation. It's meant to be an everyday sport bike, something you can take to the office one day and take to the track on the weekend. If you think about it, it shares a lot of its DNA with old school leader bikes. Yeah, they were a lot faster, but they were designed to be street versions of race bikes, not like the race bikes for the street that we have today. It's not a wannabe though. It's as confidence inspiring around a corner as the R1 ever was, and we're 100% going to have an RS660 track review coming soon. We got our RS660 in the shop last week, and I've been riding around to get to know it, but it's not mine. It's actually going to be our next intermediate giveaway bike, and like a lot of the fancy motorcycles, it came from Eurocycles out in Las Vegas. They're the ones that have been sending us all kinds of crazy bikes, from the Daytona 765 Moto 2 we had, to the Zero SRF, to the MV Agusta, to the 210 1100 factory that's in our shop right now. We've actually got a really cool video with that one coming out next week, so stay tuned. You can check them out by clicking the link down below, and if you got an RS660 shaped hole in your life that needs filling, they ship nationwide. Wink wink, nudge nudge. Or you can win ours for free by signing up on YammieNoob.co. So now that we have a better understanding of what the RS660 is all about, let's see how it stacks up against the competition, which is actually going to be a lot harder than you might think. It's in a bit of a weird place in the market, but I can think of 3 bikes that you might also be looking at. Let's start out with the most obvious comparison, the Kawasaki Ninja 636. Which in this case is a stand-in for all Japanese 600s, since they're kind of interchangeable at this point. First off, the 636 has 2 more cylinders and a similar displacement, which inherently means the bike needs to rev out to make its power. It's putting down 127 horsepower at 13,500 RPM to the RS660 100 at 10,500. Pretty much every 600 Supersport is the same. You need to wring its neck like it's got some sort of sick fetish and never let go. With the RS660, you don't really need to do that. It makes it more playful and it's got more low-down torque. You'll get an LCD dash on the ZX6, a slipper clutch, full adjustable suspension, traction control, ABS, and a quick shifter on the ZX6, which is nice. But if you're looking for tech, the RS660 has it beat hands down. The full Zoot version of the Cowie cost $11,499, which is exactly the same price as the Aprilia. And unless you're really looking to get into club racing or something like that, the RS660 is going to be a better choice. Yes, you're giving up 27 top-end horsepower, but numbers like that really don't tell the whole story. The RS has a more usable power curve down low. If we get lucky, we'd love to do a direct comparison to a ZX6 and show you guys the differences. The next bike I can think to best compare it to is the CBR 650R from Honda. Another Japanese inline 4, but unlike the 600, it's got a 650 meant to look fast and be a little bit more comfortable as a street bike at the same time. It's got an inline 4 making 94 horsepower and 46 foot-pounds of torque, which isn't striking distance of the RS660, but it's heavier at 458 pounds wet. You don't get adjustable suspension, you don't get rider modes, you don't get a TFT, and worst of all, it costs $9,699. Unless you're lucky enough to find old new stock or have mastered the art of the deal, good luck getting a dealer to part with one of these for under $10,000. And at that point, you might as well just drop the extra $1,500 and get the Aprilia. It's just as comfy, has more tech for the street like cruise control, and in my opinion, it's just a sleeker looking bike. Finally, there's the Ducati Supersport. This one's admittedly a bit of a stretch. I don't imagine a bunch of people are cross-shopping these two bikes, but let's assume there's at least one person stuck out there between these two Italian steeds, and that's for a good reason. They're kind of similar when you think about it. The Supersport is Ducati's shot at a sport touring bike that can also be taken to a track. It's got the 937cc Desmo V-twin putting down 110 horsepower and 69 foot-pounds of torque. A little more potent, but it's heavier at 463 pounds without saddlebags, and that's a lot of extra weight. You get nicer brakes, Panigale-inspired looks, TFT dash, Ducati's tech suite, and up and down quick shifter. Unfortunately, the base model runs 13,495 and 15,798 for the S model, which comes with Öhlins and some other bits and bobs. The Supersport is more of the old sport bike dad who wants to look cool, but also go a long distance. The RS660 is a proper sport bike that just happens to be comfortable at the same time. It's also a lot cheaper. In truth, the RS660 is in a bit of a league of its own. All the technology from a top spec leader bike, a potent twin-cylinder engine, lightweight, and pretty cheap for what you're getting. If you're a beginner looking to upgrade, the RS660 is one of the best choices out there, and if you're a vet looking for something else to add to the stable, the RS660 has enough power to keep you entertained in the performance chops of bikes twice its price. Why are you even here? Just go get one. You guys can also check out my first ride and review of the RS660 here on the channel. I did a pretty comprehensive and detailed, about 38-minute look at the bike, riding around and talking about it. We're gonna have a lot more RS660 content coming out in the next couple of months before we give this thing away, so stay tuned here on the Yammie Noob channel and hit subscribe if you want to keep up to date on our RS660 content. Fact: the annual number of worldwide shark bites is 10 times less than the people bitten by other people in New York. Crazy. Goodbye.
Bummer for you, my little squid. This video is actually over, but lucky for you, there's plenty of other Yammie videos you can check out right over here. What's gonna happen to them? I don't know. I haven't seen them, but you can watch them right now.